Welcome to the movies, pal. Your friendly neighborhood Master Chaos, back with you once again. The campfire is roaring, and I'm ready, if you are, to discuss a 3D classic. Friday the 13th, Part 3, 3D. Screenplay by Martin Kitrosser and Carol Watson, and directed by Steve Miner. Oh yes, oh yes, oh yes! We get the first, in my opinion, great Jason movie. This is a personal favorite of mine for many reasons that I'll go into in this review. Namely, it's got my favorite final girl of all time, Dana Kimmel, who plays Chris. She's amazing in this. And on top of all that, Jason is brutal as hell, and he gets established with his signature look in this one. So if we're thinking of the franchise in terms of essential volumes and essential hits, this is the first essential entry in the entire franchise. I'll briefly tell you the plot. Like I said, I'm not going to waste your time too much. This time, it's not campers, but a bunch of friends head to the woods. I guess they've rented a cabin, or I believe Chris... her family owns a cabin, and basically her and her pothead and drunk friends want to head out to the woods to party, get laid, and get killed. Speaking of getting killed, let's get to the drive-in totals, as Joe Bob says. How many kills are in this movie? Well, we have 12. 12 kills in this movie. We've topped Part 1 and Part 2 with 12 dead bodies. 2 of them are off-screen. One of them is the character of Shelly, played by Larry Zerner, a great guy who actually turns out to be my entertainment lawyer, believe it or not. He's a lawyer now. He is the one wearing the hockey mask. That's where Jason gets it from. So he has a giant part of horror movie history. He's the one who gave Jason his hockey mask. His death is off-screen. However, he does come back later briefly, and we see what happened to him. He got, jabbed in the throat, as it were. And how many boobies do we see in this one? Well, this is surprisingly tame. Just like the other ones, we only have one nude scene, and it's a very brief sequence where one of the girls is taking a shower, and you barely see anything, but I'm counting it because I saw nipple. And for me, that's sort of my dividing line as to nude scene. If I see nipple, or if I see, bare bottom crack, that's a nude scene. Our final girl is Chris. I mentioned her briefly, played by Dana Kimmel. She is awesome. Not only is she beautiful, I think she's probably the prettiest final girl in the franchise so far, but she's badass, man. She actively wants to hurt Jason. She doesn't want to just hit him with a stick and then run away. No, she goes after him. Like, she'll beat him to shit. She'll try to run him over with her van. She is actively trying to kick his ass. That's awesome. And I don't think Chris gets the recognition she deserves. Fave kill in this one will go to Andy, the moron who's doing a handstand because he thinks he's cool. And Jason proves him wrong by slashing him right between the nuts with a machete. We don't get a super split shot of what it would look like, because that would be amazing. But we do see an aftermath when his girlfriend, who is, by the way, the only nude scene in the movie, when she returns back to their lovemaking hammock, blood drips. She looks up, and we see that poor Andy has indeed been cut in half, and for some reason Jason, I guess for fun, for shits and giggles, has decided to stuff him up in the rafters of the roof just as a gag. I don't know why he did that, but he did that. Fave line in this beauty comes from Shelly, of course, who's the character that gives Jason the mask. He says, "Being a jerk is better than being a nothing." Truer words have never been spoken. I think not that that's a motto anybody should live by. I'm just saying, character-wise, story-wise, subtext-wise, it's a perfect line for that character. It's one of the reasons I like this movie. I love this movie, to be honest, is because this is the one time, at least early on, where we get to know all the characters, where we actually kind of care about all the victims. We know, for the most part, I mean, we know their fodder, but we get to know a little bit about everybody. A little bit about everybody. Everybody gets a little background, a little subtext, a little meat on their bones. They're not just empty-headed kids. As an FYI, all the gals in this movie are gorgeous. Oh my God, every girl in part 3 is beautiful. Oh, just stunning. Vera, gorgeous. She gets a spear in the eye. I should say a harpoon in the eye. Gosh, every girl in this movie is just a knockout. Lore-wise, I do have to mention that this movie takes place only a couple days after the events of part 2. We know that because in the first scene there is a couple. I guess they own a general store in Crystal Lake, and the wife, her hair in curlers, is watching something on the news, and she's watching the footage essentially of Ginny being loaded into the ambulance, saying that a few days ago, blah blah blah, kid survived. Piece of lore number 2, this is the first movie that establishes Hockey Mask Jason. Now, I should mention that we don't see Hockey Mask Jason until exactly 1 hour into the movie. Also, it introduces the concept of the unkillable Jason. That is established in this movie because not only is he whacked around a whole bunch, but he keeps springing to life unstoppably. This is, they didn't really do that in part 2 because everyone just kept getting killed real fast. And this one, he keeps getting knocked down, knocked out, but he springs back up, and he is unstoppable. So unstoppable, killable Jason established in this one as well. That's what I mean when I say this is the first essential Jason movie. Speaking of unkillable Jason, let's talk about the finale. This is, in my opinion, the best third act in the Jason franchise so far. For me, I love it because not only is Dana a badass, again, I'll call her Chris, that's her character name. Chris is a badass, but it's really long. It's really long. One of the problems I have with part 2 is Ginny only spends maybe 5 to maybe 10 minutes with Jason. Here, Chris has a good, 20, 25 minutes running away from Jason. And there's a lot of set pieces, too, which make it feel, thick and satisfying. It's not a quick run, hide in the barn, hit him with a stick, movie over. There's a lot of set pieces here. There's a barn fight, there's a car chase. There's just a lot. This movie is sort of famous for having a lot of alternate endings. Ending number 1 involved Dana thinking she sees one of her friends in the house. She runs to the house, opens the door. Jason is there instead, and he cuts her head off. What? That would have been a crazy ending. That would have been a really powerful ending, too. Especially because Dana was such a badass character, or Chris was such a badass character. I would have loved it if they went with that ending, very definitive. Another one of the alternate endings involved, of course, Dana doing that to Jason, cutting his head off a la Mrs. Voorhees, but the producers nixed it because they said, no, that's too definitive of a kill. We have to leave Jason alive. And them saying that surprises me because the ending this movie has is Jason laying there dead. Let's talk special features because that's why we're here. This one is sort of light on them, but that's okay because the stuff on here is really good. There's a new featurette called Fresh Cuts 3D Terror. It is 12 minutes and 52 seconds, and it's what you expect from a featurette like that about sort of the making of the movie. A couple of the actors are interviewed. They didn't get Dana Kimmel, which I thought was interesting. From what I remember, I don't think she was on it in it. But Larry Zerner, of course, Shelly, he appears in it, and as well as Richard Brooker, who played Jason. There's the third installment for the fan film, The Lost Tales of Camp Blood. It's under 5 minutes. I mean, if you've been watching them, then this is the next installment. But again, my opinion, you can skip it. It's it's really just a fan film. It's not as I don't know. I feel like you spend your time on more interesting things that have actual relation to the franchise, like the commentary track. There's a commentary track on here which features Dana Kimmel and Larry Zerner, Richard Brooker, and someone else I'm forgetting who. But it's a cast commentary. Really great, really informative, really fun. Also, there's a BD-ROM feature on here, a vintage Fangoria article, I guess about the making of the film. I don't have a BD-ROM, so I can't access it, but it's an interesting thing to have if you'd like to read the old Fangoria article, which, funny enough, one of the characters in this movie pulls out a Fangoria magazine and starts reading it. I thought that was sort of a funny wink-wink to the audience. Overall, in terms of star rating, this one gets 5 stars. Yes, indeed, you heard it correctly. Friday the 13th, Part 3, D, gets 5 stars from your friendly neighborhood Master Chaos. Why? Well, if I haven't made it clear enough, I love the final girl. I love the actors, and I love script-wise how we get to really care about everybody, or at least know a little bit about them. Vera, has a very stressful home life. Her mom is very, conservative. Shelly, feels he's too ugly to be loved, so he feels he has to be a jerk. Even the pothead hippie couple, you get to sort of really know them and sort of understand a little bit about their mechanics. At least I felt like, okay, I think I understand these characters. They feel unique enough and different enough that they stand out to me. Even, Andy and his girlfriend, she's pregnant. He's really good at handstands. He's going to be a dad soon. Like, there's a lot of stuff in there, subtext-wise, that it really jumped out at me and really made me believe these were real characters and really made me like them. And I feel bad when they died, except for Andy, this stupid headstand shit. But anyway, 5 stars. I haven't really mentioned this before, but the transfers on these are looking amazing. These are clear as hell. But of course, you wouldn't expect any less. No artifacting, no, print damage, no tears, no cigarette burns, nothing like that. No scratches. It all looks great. Really clear, really pristine, almost as if it was shot today. So Screen Factory's doing a really good job transfer-wise on these. I really wish there was maybe 1 or 2 more featurettes on it, because I really like this movie, and I really wanted it to have maybe an explanation as to why the hockey mask was decided upon. I didn't listen to the full commentary. Maybe they mentioned it in the commentary, but if they do, let me know in the comments, please. And while you're at it, leave me a thumbs up if you enjoyed this movie, or this review, or if you're having a great day, if you're just having a good day, leave me a thumbs up, and that lets me know you're having a wonderful day. Well, that'll do, pal. That's my review for Friday the 13th, Part 3, 3D. I think so far my favorite in the franchise, obviously, with a 5-star rating. Let me know what you think of the movie, please. This is a two-way conversation. I'll see you tomorrow with, of course, my review of Friday the 13th, the final chapter. If you're new here, please consider subscribing. If you do, well, you'll see me tomorrow. Mastercast comes at you daily, sometimes twice daily, as I'll be doing with my daily vlogs and my Mastercast theater episodes. So I hope I see you again. And on that note, until we meet again, please, my friend, take care of yourself, lock your doors, bolt your windows. Remember, I am your friend, the Neighborhood Master Chaos, and you have been entertained.